Now that we have Python installed, let me launch it. I use the Windows run command and type idle. It launches the idle shell. Idle shell is basically for practicing Python, for passing one line Python instructions to check the results. But since we are going to create a bigger program than this, let's create a new file. And to start with, let me create a variable to store the URL of the file that we are going to check passive voice in. So here's the URL. And I have created a variable here and stored next. Since we will be using a requests library which contains the get function that we'll be using to ping the web address, I will import the requests library and then create the request to get the response with the HTML source code of the page, which will be response is equal to requests dot get. We'll pass the name of the variable as the argument here. We want to get the HTML source code from this URL which is in this variable. Next, we want to parse the response text attribute using the lxml parser. So first of all, I import the lxml parser and then I create another variable and use the BeautifulSoup library to get the text and use the lxml parser to process it. But of course, I will also need to import the BeautifulSoup library and now we are getting and reading the text from this URL. So why don't we stop and check if our program is working fine. We save it. Save it as passive voice, and if we print, we are just trying to print to see if we are getting the content from this URL as we are trying to. So to run this program, I have saved it and now I press F5 and we have received the content from the URL. Now that we know that our half the program is working and print is not our motive, we can comment print by using Shift F3 or we can delete this instruction.